Khabib Nurmagomedov vs. Kamil Magomedov, the Golden Fist Russia Showdown. The scene, it was the kind of night that made every fight fan hold their breath in anticipation. The Golden Fist Russia event, held on October 22, 2011, was buzzing with excitement. The air was thick with tension as two fighters, both hailing from the same region, both with pride on the line, were about to clash in a battle that would go down in history. The venue was packed with spectators, their voices reverberating off the walls, fueling the energy in the room. In one corner, wearing his signature black shorts, was Khabib Nurmagomedov, a young, hungry fighter on a mission to prove that his undefeated streak was no fluke. In the other corner was Kamil Magomedov, a fighter with a similar pedigree, but one with the added pressure of showing he could break the streak of the rising star. The crowd could feel the electricity in the air. The stage was set, and the tension was palpable. Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated force. Khabib's story wasn't just about his fighting abilities. It was about his journey. Born into the small village of Sildi, Dagestan, Khabib was raised in a world where wrestling was not just a sport, it was a way of life. His father, Arman Nurmagomedov, was a decorated coach, and from the moment Khabib could walk, his destiny was sealed. Wrestling, sambo, and judo were the foundation of his training, but what truly set Khabib apart was his discipline and the almost mystical calmness in his demeanor. By the time Khabib entered the Golden Fist Russia tournament, he had already made waves in the MMA world, defeating opponents from various backgrounds with his grappling-heavy style. His undefeated streak was no accident. It was the product of years of hard work and a mindset that was built for victory. But this fight was different. Kamil Magomedov was no ordinary opponent. He too came from a background of wrestling and sambo, and the Dagestani warrior in him was hungry to prove that Khabib was beatable. This fight had the makings of a true clash of titans. Kamil Magomedov, a rival's challenge. Kamil Magomedov was the kind of fighter to be intimidated easily. Though he might not have had the same international spotlight as Khabib, Kamil's skills were not to be underestimated. His wrestling prowess was on par with Khabib's, and in many ways, Kamil had the same fierce determination to protect the honor of his people. Kamil's journey into the world of mixed martial arts had been a long one. Much like Khabib, he was bred in the small villages of Dagestan, where the sport was woven into the very fabric of life. Kamil had trained in various disciplines but always focused on his stand-up game, an area where he believed he could expose Khabib's weaknesses. But as Kamil looked across the cage at his opponent, he knew this fight was not going to be an easy one. Khabib had already earned his place as a force to be reckoned with, and Kamil had the unenviable task of challenging that undefeated record. The fight, the moment of truth. As the bell rang, the arena fell silent. The fighters circled each other, eyeing for any opening. Khabib moved forward with his signature calm, his eyes locked on Kamil's every move. Kamil, meanwhile, seemed more focused, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For the first few seconds, both fighters maintained their distance. Khabib was studying Kamil's movements, analyzing every feint and jab. Kamil, in turn, was trying to read Khabib's reactions, searching for any sign of hesitation. Then, like a switch flipping, Khabib closed the distance. He shot in for a takedown, a move he had perfected over the years. Kamil, anticipating this, sprawled to defend. But Khabib, relentless in his pursuit, quickly transitioned into a clinch. With a move that seemed almost effortless, Khabib dragged Kamil to the mat, his superior wrestling technique on full display. From there, Khabib moved into his familiar dominant position, positioning himself for control. Kamil struggled underneath him, attempting to regain his guard, but it was clear that Khabib's top control was on another level. The crowd was on edge, watching as Khabib methodically worked his way into a dominant position. Then, in an instant, Khabib transitioned smoothly into a triangle choke, his favorite submission. The maneuver was swift, clinical, and expertly executed. Kamil fought with every ounce of strength to break free, but the triangle choke was locked in perfectly. Khabib's legs squeezed tighter, and Kamil's resistance began to fade. The submission held firm. Kamil tapped out. Aftermath: the Golden Fist victory. As the referee called for the stoppage, the crowd erupted in a thunderous applause. Khabib stood victorious, his undefeated streak intact. He had done it again, defeating another highly skilled opponent in dominant fashion. For Kamil, the loss was a hard pill to swallow. But there was no shame in facing Khabib, especially considering the way Khabib had dominated the fight. It was clear that Khabib's blend of technical mastery and mental fortitude was something to behold. The story of the fight, a legacy. What made this fight truly legendary wasn't just the victory itself, it was the demonstration of Khabib's growth as a fighter. In this battle, Khabib displayed not just his wrestling acumen but his evolution into a complete MMA artist. The victory was a testament to the years of hard work and sacrifice that had gone into his training. As Khabib exited the cage, he wasn't just a man who had won another fight, he was a symbol of something larger. He was the embodiment of Dagestani pride, the warrior who had overcome all challenges to prove that greatness could be achieved through hard work, discipline, and an unbreakable will. For Kamil, it was a lesson. A reminder that even the best can be outworked and outclassed. But it also sparked a fire in him, a desire to keep pushing, to keep learning, and to one day stand at the top of the mountain himself. And so, this fight between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Kamil Magomedov became a piece of MMA history. It wasn't just a contest between two fighters, it was a story of passion, perseverance, and the unyielding pursuit of greatness. As Khabib raised his hand in victory, the crowd cheered, but they knew that this was just one step in a larger journey. Khabib was on the path to becoming a legend, and this fight against Kamil Magomedov was one of the many milestones that would mark his place in the annals of mixed martial arts history.